all of the quarterback competitions heading into 2024. Here's what he has to say about the Washington Commanders.
There's no competition.
I'm just reading what Cody Benjamin has to say. Don't kill the messenger.
All right. Well, I don't know what he's saying.
He says this is the one sham competition of the bunch.
Right.
But unlike in Chicago, where there is zero question about Caleb Williams' place atop the Bears' depth chart, both Daniels and the new Commanders regime are publicly allowing for the notion that backup Marcus Mariota is in contention for the Week 1 gig. We'll just say this. If Mariota starts, there's something deeply wrong here.
Mm-hmm.
Daniels is 23, played 5 years of college ball, and just went number 2 overall to a roster littered with veteran additions. His electric mobility should give him an instant hold on the job.
I would agree.
Yeah, 100%. It's a sham.
I mean,
it's a sham.
He would have to have an awful preseason to
I
lose that number 1 gig.
I would think so.
It was a sham competition when Ron was here. It was
Ron would love to talk about quarterback competitions, but never really
had
them.
No.
Yeah, I mean, he had his handpicked guys, and when those would ultimately blow up in his face, which they tended to do, he lost his job as a result.
By the way, has Ron been picked up anywhere? No coaching staff has picked him up.
I mean, he's had a few downlights with ESPN.
Is ESPN committed to him on any level?
I don't think so, because
I don't know if they're committed.
He was appearing on Fox's shows as well.
Right.
Del Rio? Did Del Rio land anything?
Del Rio's not landing anywhere. He's done. I'm telling you, Vietnamese in college.
Who would be in a hurry to hire either of those guys? Why would you want to hire Del Rio or Ron Rivera?
I can't think of why anybody would. I can't think of why anybody would, Cakes.
You know what Ron's going to be doing? Playing 36 at Pebble Beach and Spyglass Hill. That's what he's going to be doing to pass his time.
Can't believe how bad it was. I can't believe how bad that era was. All right, what else you got?
Yeah, and I thought it was going to be a pretty decent era. I mean, didn't know about the quarterback situation because he inherited Haskins.
No, but you thought you got like a respected professional.
Seemed like a solid hire at the time to clean up a broken organization.
You know what he was?
Completely wrong.
Con artist. Complete fraud.
Also very overrated. Right. If you look at the body of his coaching career.
No, he had a lot of other stuff to deal with. But just in terms of, a day-to-day game plan and prep for each week, in-game planning, that was not good.
Mm-hmm.
Kirk Cousins chose to sign with the Atlanta Falcons this offseason rather than returning to the Minnesota Vikings. There were likely several factors that went into the veteran QB's decision, but one of them sticks out above the rest. In his weekly column for SI that was published on Monday, Albert Breer shared a tidbit about the Cousins situation. The longtime NFL reporter said one of the reasons Cousins chose to sign with the Falcons is that the Vikings told Cousins they intended to draft a quarterback early in the first round. The Vikings were honest with Cousins in telling him they planned to draft their quarterback in the future, even if Cousins re-signed with Minnesota. Breer said Cousins appreciated that the Vikings were so upfront with him.
Hmm.
The Falcons then, of course, drafted Michael Penix Jr. with the number 8 overall pick without telling Cousins.
It's crazy.
That it was happening.
Well, hold on. I thought you just said that he was going to. They were telling him.
No, the Vikings
Vikings
did.
did.
And so then he said, you know what? I don't want to be here because you're about to draft my successor. So let me bounce via free agency to Atlanta. And then they did the same thing that Minnesota was doing.
So has he commented publicly, Kirk? Like via social media or anything?
He was said to be, quote, shocked that Atlanta drafted Penix. I don't know if there's anything more.
I don't know if that came from his agent, but yeah. I think
did
he was definitely surprised.
Didn't you mention, did he do like a head scratch thing on like Twitter or something?
I don't know.
Is he a Twitter guy?
I don't think
Kirk Cousins, I don't think he's a Twitter guy.
Okay.
That I can recall.
Right.
Not sure.
But he... I don't know if he's told the media or his agent said that Falcons never told us they were going to draft a quarterback.
Right. I mean, Cousins' public comments he says, we had a very good conversation. I'm going to keep it just between me and him right now, but it was a good conversation. I'm super excited to work with him.
I mean, I guess
he always is going to say the right thing.
I guess the Vikings figured they were going to play the whole Jordan Love scenario again and let him sit for 2 or 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
But Kirk Cousins was never going to play poorly enough where he was going to lose the starting job. Maybe he gets hurt. But there was no way that J.J. McCarthy was going to unseat Kirk Cousins.
You wouldn't think, no.
That's not going to happen. And it's not going to happen in Atlanta either. So that's why you question why you would do that.
Mm-hmm.
Why you would draft a quarterback.
I guess to protect yourself if he gets injured.
Maybe. But again, when you draft a guy that high, you would hope he starts right away.
Yeah.
With the 2024 NFL Draft in the rear view, it's time now to gear up for the class of 2025. If you check out the way too early mock draft from our friend Ryan Wilson from CBS Sports, you'll notice a familiar name at the top. Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders, the son of longtime head coach Deion Sanders of Colorado. Of course, NFL star Deion Sanders. The younger Sanders is in consideration to be one of the top picks in next year's class, but apparently, had he entered the 2024 class, he could have been viewed in the same league. Quote, this is from a longtime NFL evaluator speaking to the Washington Post. He was quarterback one for me if he came out this year. You have to manage him a little differently, and Deion is going to be heavily involved. So you have to be prepared to deal with that BS. But I love watching that kid play. He's a born winner.
So they would take him over Caleb?
I don't think so.
I mean, a longtime NFL evaluator said he was QB1 for me if he came out this year.
Right. Wow.
I just looked at a different mock draft. Walter football. We don't know Walter, but we always reference him. Number 1 pick, Shedeur Sanders. He has also 4 quarterbacks going in the top 10.
Yeah,
for next year's draft,
Beck.
Let me guess. Quinn Ewers, Carson Beck.
Got 3 of them.
Drew Aller.
4. Got them all.
Yeah. That's not going to be as good as this class.
Did you see that apparently Arch Manning was balling out in their
read that, yep.
In their spring game?
I read that, yep.
Yeah. They showed some clips. He looked good.
I saw I threw for almost 400 yards.
He looked really good.
It is a spring game.
Problem is he's got Quinn Ewers in front of him.
Yeah, but is he really that good, that Quinn Ewers guy?
Yeah,
he's projected as a top 10 pick.
But I thought everybody was pooping on that class. That's why they said all these quarterbacks went so high.
It's just one guy.
I know.
Yeah, it's just
Walter. It's your way too early
football.
mock drafts.
All right.
They haven't played a snap.
I mean, the quarterbacks go too high anyway, but...
Speaking of quarterbacks, final story. EB, do you know who Patrick Mahomes' backup is heading into 2024?
Off the top of my head, no.
His name rhymes with Marson Schwentz.
Oh, right. Okay.
Carson Wentz is the backup to Patrick Mahomes for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Right, well, we knew that, right? He signed a couple weeks ago.
Yep, but Andy Reid spoke out about Carson Wentz.
What did he say?
He was asked about Wentz during his Monday presser. Noted that he still prefers a veteran to be the backup. Quote, I thought Blaine did a nice job when he was here last year. Carson, I know, did a nice job when he worked with the Rams. Had a nice game, actually, for them right at the end there, but I welcome him in. We talked to him last year when we were talking to Blaine. He was holding off for an opportunity possibly to start, but it was good to get him in this position. And if he has an opportunity to play, he has an opportunity to play. But he's really handled it well since he's been here. He's a good football player. I like him.
Well, he barely said anything.
Look at Big Red there, talking in circles about your guy Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
If there's a chance to play, Patrick Mahomes is the starter.
You better hope he doesn't see Carson Wentz.
I like it. It says if he has an opportunity to play, he has an opportunity to play. That's exact words.
There's only going to be injury.
He's got to beat out for the number 2 job, Ian Book and somebody named Chris Aludican.
Those guys seem very beatable.
Yeah, they're very beatable.
All right,